Hi everyone, this is Dr. Lakshmi Gayatri. The topics to be discussed in this video are pterygopalatine fossa, pterygopalatine ganglion and the maxillary nerve. Pterygopalatine fossa. This fossa is also named as the pterygopalatino-maxillary fossa. It is a pyramidal shaped structure which is present in the posterior part of the apex of the orbit and the supromedial part of the body of the maxilla. We will discuss the pterygopalatine fossa under the following topics: the boundaries of the pterygopalatine fossa, the openings related to the boundaries, its communications, and the contents of the fossa. First, let's know about its boundaries with a schematic diagram. Let's consider this pyramid to be the pterygopalatine fossa. It has 6 boundaries, namely anterior, posterior, above, below, medial and the lateral boundaries. Anteriorly, the fossa is related to the posterior wall of the body of the maxilla, and also it is present below the apex of the orbit. So the orbit is related to its superolateral part, while posteriorly the fossa is bounded by the root of the pterygoid plates between the lateral and the medial pterygoid plate. Below in the apex, the anterior and the posterior walls meet, while above it is related to the greater wing and the body of the sphenoid medially and the orbit laterally. So what will be its medial boundary? This picture represents the palatine bone with the horizontal and its perpendicular plate. The perpendicular plate of the palatine bone forms the lateral wall of the nasal cavity, and this becomes the medial boundary of the pterygopalatine fossa. Now let's recap the boundaries of the pterygopalatine fossa. So this is the pterygopalatine fossa. I've already told you it is a pyramidal shaped structure with the apex directed downwards, and this is above. Okay, so anteriorly it is bounded by the posterior surface of the body of the maxilla. So this is the posterior surface of the body of the maxilla anteriorly, and posteriorly it is bounded by the root of the pterygoid plate. This is the lateral pterygoid plate, and this is medial pterygoid plate, and this is the root of the pterygoid plate. It forms the posterior boundary of the pterygopalatine fossa. Above, it is related through the inferior orbital fissure to the apex of the orbit. Okay, and medially it is also related to the sphenoid bone. So this is the inferior surface of the body of the sphenoid bone. So this is the body of the sphenoid bone. Below, the anterior and the posterior wall are close to each other. Okay, below it is close. Medially, the pterygopalatine fossa is bounded by the perpendicular plate of the palatine bone. See, this is the horizontal part of the palatine bone, and into the inner aspect you can see the perpendicular plate of the palatine bone that forms the medial boundary of the pterygopalatine fossa. Laterally, it is related to the infratemporal fossa. The openings related to the boundaries of the pterygopalatine fossa. The posterior wall of the fossa presents from lateral to medial 3 openings: foramen rotundum for maxillary nerve, anterior opening of pterygoid canal for the pterygoid vessels and nerve, palatovaginal canal for the pharyngeal vessels and nerves. The medial wall of the fossa related to the perpendicular plate of palatine bone presents a foramen called sphenopalatine foramen, which traverses the nasopalatine vessels and nerves to enter into the nasal cavity. Below, in the apex, the anterior and the posterior walls meet. The apex contains a foramen called greater palatine canal, which traverses the greater and lesser palatine vessels and nerves that enter into the palate to supply the hard palate, soft palate, and the palatine tonsil. There are 2 communications for the pterygopalatine fossa. One is through the inferior orbital fissure. It communicates with the orbit, which happens in its superolateral part, and the other with the infratemporal fossa through the pterygomaxillary fissure in its lateral part. The lateral wall of the pterygopalatine fossa presents a pterygomaxillary fissure, which is a triangular gap presented between the body of the maxilla anteriorly and the lateral pterygoid plate posteriorly. This fissure transmits third part of the maxillary artery, the maxillary nerve, posterior superior alveolar vessels and nerves, and the pterygoid venous plexus. Among this, the maxillary artery and the maxillary nerve enter into the fossa through this fissure. The contents of the pterygopalatine fossa. It has only three structures. One is maxillary nerve and its branches, the pterygopalatine ganglion and its connections, and the third part of the maxillary artery along with its branches. The third part of the maxillary artery, before it enters into the pterygopalatine fossa, gives off the infraorbital artery, which traverses through the inferior orbital fissure. Once it enters into the fossa, it gives off the posterior superior alveolar artery, which supplies the molar and the premolar tooth. It also gives three other branches, namely greater palatine artery, which traverses through the greater palatine canal present in the apex of the fossa to enter into the palate. The other two arteries being the pharyngeal artery and the artery of the pterygoid canal, passing through the palatovaginal canal and the pterygoid canal respectively, present in the posterior wall of the fossa. The continuation of the maxillary artery is the spinopalatine artery, which passes through the spinopalatine foramen present in its medial wall to enter into the nasal cavity. Now, let's discuss about the anatomy of the maxillary nerve with its origin, course, and the branching pattern. Maxillary nerve is the second branching division of the trigeminal nerve, and its function is entirely sensory. It arises from the convex anterior border of the trigeminal ganglion located in the apex of the petrous part of the temporal bone. After its origin, it courses lateral to the cavernous sinus, and then through the foramen rotundum it leaves the skull and enters into the upper part of the pterygopalatine fossa. From the pterygopalatine fossa, it passes straight to enter into the posterior surface of the body of the maxilla in its upper part, and then it finally enters into the orbit through the inferior orbital fissure and passes through the infraorbital canal. The nerve gives off its branches in the middle cranial fossa, in the pterygopalatine fossa, in the infraorbital canal, and on the face. In the middle cranial fossa, the maxillary nerve gives meningeal branches to give sensory innervation to the dura mater. It then enters into the pterygopalatine fossa through the foramen rotundum present in its posterior wall. In the pterygopalatine fossa, it gives three important branches. One is the ganglionic branches, which are two in number, through which it suspends the pterygopalatine ganglion. The second is the zygomatic nerve, which passes upwards to divide into zygomaticofacial and zygomaticotemporal nerves and supplies other corresponding areas. Zygomaticotemporal nerve joins with the lacrimal nerve and conveys the postganglionic secretomotor fibers to the lacrimal gland. The third nerve is the posterior superior alveolar nerve or the dental nerve, which enters into the body of the maxilla through its posterior surface and supplies the maxillary sinus and forms superior dental plexus to supply the molar tooth of the upper jaw. These are the three branches given off by the maxillary nerve in the pterygopalatine fossa. Next, the maxillary nerve enters into the infraorbital canal present in the orbit through the infraorbital fissure and gives two branches, namely middle superior alveolar nerve and anterior superior alveolar nerve, to supply the rest of the tooth of the upper jaw. In addition, the anterior superior alveolar nerve also gives nasal branches to supply the lateral wall of the nose up to the opening of the maxillary sinus. Finally, the nerve comes out through the infraorbital foramen in the face and divides into palpebral branch, nasal branch, and superior labial branches to supply the skin of the lower eyelid, the side of the nose, and the upper lip. Pterygopalatine ganglion. This is the largest peripheral parasympathetic ganglion present in our body. The location of this ganglion, we already knew. It is present in the deeper part of the pterygopalatine fossa, lateral to the spinopalatine foramen and below the maxillary nerve. It is presented between the pharyngeal artery medially and the artery to the pterygoid canal laterally. The ganglion is topographically connected to the maxillary nerve through its two roots. That means it is physically connected to the maxillary nerve, but functionally it is related to the facial nerve, which relays its branches into the ganglion. The connections of the pterygopalatine ganglia is very important to be known. There are three connections for this ganglion. One is parasympathetic, second is sympathetic, and the third is the sensory root of the maxillary nerve. First, let us see the parasympathetic connections. The parasympathetic root is a motor root because it brings the secretomotor fibers which relays in the pterygopalatine ganglion to supply the smooth muscles of the lacrimal gland, nasal gland, palatine gland and the pharyngeal glands to bring out its secretions. This parasympathetic or the secretomotor pathway starts from the lacrimatory nucleus present in the lower pons, which gives out the preganglionic fibers. These fibers pass successively through the nervus intermedius, the trunk of the facial nerve, the geniculate ganglion of the facial nerve, the greater petrosal nerve, a branch of facial nerve, and through the nerve of pterygoid canal, it relays in the pterygopalatine ganglion. The ganglion then gives out the postganglionic secretomotor fibers which passes through two routes. The first route is through the zygomatic nerve, zygomaticotemporal nerve and the lacrimal nerve to supply the lacrimal gland. The second route, the fibers passes through the greater palatine nerve to supply the nasal, palatine gland and the pharyngeal glands for its secretomotor supply. The second connection is the sympathetic route. The sympathetic fibers are the postganglionic sympathetic fibers from the superior cervical ganglion of the sympathetic trunk, which is brought by the deep petrosal nerve, a branch of the internal carotid plexus. These fibers will not relay in the pterygopalatine ganglion, but without interruption it passes through the ganglion to supply the mucous membrane of the nose, palate and the nasopharynx to give the vasomotor supply. Along with the sympathetic and parasympathetic fibers, the sensory fibers of the maxillary nerve also passes through this ganglion without interruption. Thus, the pterygopalatine ganglion traverses the parasympathetic route, sympathetic route and the sensory route of the maxillary nerve. To conclude, the learning objectives of the pterygopalatine fossa: pterygopalatine ganglion and the maxillary nerve. These three topics are very important to be known from the exam point of view for the students. Thank you.